For the first 4 or 5 months from October onwards, we were firefighting to get fixtures on and just getting things played. I think people often miscalculate risk a lot of the time. The risk is actually in doing nothing. If you want to play at this football club, it won't exist if you don't do something right now. I thought there was a real opportunity there. I saw a chance rather than a worry. When I joined Leyton Orient, the club was in a little bit of a chaotic period maybe. Obviously the situation had just happened with Leyton Orient, where they decided to sort of go their own way and set up their women's side. And so then the club kind of had a decision there to make as to whether or not it was going to disband or try and take its own path through. The club had always been run independently of Leyton. They just played under the name and under the identity. So the transition wasn't too difficult. During that period, the then manager who'd taken the club from grassroots, Chris, who was honestly fantastic in terms of how he'd brought the club up, then decided to take a step back, and this was in about October time. So I'd done a couple of months of pre-season. It was a difficult time for the club, and he decided personally that he just to take a step back. And so that left the club in a position where it didn't really have a committee, it didn't really have the infrastructure that it needed. And so myself and a couple of other players, we thought we can do this, we can take on this challenge of running this club. As club secretary, there was me and there was Hayley Barton, who was our vice chair, and Jessie, who was our chair previously during Chris's time. My role was basically everything. There was, in terms of making sure that matches were played as just the general role of a secretary, making sure that clubs are contacted and all that kind of stuff. So I did that side, but also just in terms of getting the infrastructure there. We really wanted to embody what had been practiced as a club, which was that players had a voice and players had a part in the club. And so we wanted to make sure that that was actually in our constitution when we turned into an organisation, so players can vote in their committee, etc.
Step 2 is yes, and change the group, please. Not the same group every week. Do that now. Go.
I think people took a lot more ownership, like this is now our club, this is how we want to take it forward, and we're not going to let a club that doesn't care about us take over what we want to be. So it was a very interesting process to be a part of, but I think now we all feel a closer tie to the club because we were there and we've seen it grow and we've been a part of its creation. But yeah, I think everyone played a small role. It was more on the pitch for me, and making sure we had like that sustainability, that we could stay in our league and like build on this from this year.
Of how we've pulled together, overcome that adversity into where we are now has been quite a monumental achievement, really. All off the back of honest people's hard work as well. It's been real grit, determination and graft from everybody, but in particular a really sort of core group who've over the last couple of years given so much of their time, so much of their energy to create what's has become a real sort of pillar of this local community now, which is fantastic. For us to come down and actually to be able to try and integrate into the local community, to hopefully inspire some of these girls that watch the Lionesses' success. We're really passionate about that not being just like a flash in the pan, and you see that on the telly in the summer and then no one hears or speaks about women's sort of football again. We want to say, look, we're here, we're on your doorstep, come down and you can have an enjoyable afternoon with us, like hopefully the people of today.
It's really important that we show that you can be independent within the Women's National League. We currently compete with teams with far bigger names, far bigger brands and far bigger budgets, and I think that's really important to show that you don't have to be a women's side or this name's women's side, that you can just be the club that you are. We are London Seaward.